If you've clicked on this video, you probably know what MBTI is and I don't have to explain, but just in case you don't, I shall do it anyway. MBTI is a personality system. It is a way of classifying personalities, and people like it a lot because it's incredibly easy. It is made of a collection of binary coins. So you're either this or you're either that, and you have 4 of them, which make up 4 letters. So, for example, you have an ENTP. That means they're extroverted, intuitive, a thinker, and a perceiver. But you can have the exact opposite of that, which would be an ISFJ, which is introverted, sensing, feeling, and judging. If you don't know what these things mean right now, that's fine. You can go ahead and find it out, but I don't think I'm going to be explaining about it too much in this video because my intentions are to take the official 16 personalities test and explain from my perspective why I don't like it, why I don't think that it's a good system, and why it might be better to go somewhere else to find personality system that is maybe a little better, or even within the same kind of idea of letters and INTP and whatever, a better system that works with the coins a little better. I'm not trying to do this as a way to force you to stop using this. I just want to express my opinion and kind of make fun of it a little bit because it's not based in psychology as far as I know. And so we should always take it with a grain of salt and not trust it blindly. But if you find that it's something that you personally like, that's okay. It's just my opinion. You don't have to change your opinion just because you watched a video where I express mine. It's so incredible to finally be understood. But is it? This is the official 16 personalities site. It's 16personalities.com. And this is where you do the test. You'll see in a minute how it looks like if you haven't done it already. Let's take the test. You regularly make new friends. You mean, like, outside of the pandemic right now? I guess I would disagree with that. I tend to stick with the same people that I meet at one point, and then if someone comes along, then sure, but at the beginning of the school year, you meet someone, and then you just kind of talk to that person until they go away or something like that. I don't tend to, like, in the middle of the school year, find someone who is cool. But then I do also... Welcome to my problem with this kind of testing. Okay, let's just say that I disagree with that a little bit. You spend a lot of free time exploring various random topics that pique your interest. Yeah. But again, I might be influenced by the fact that this just sounds like something that's like, oh yeah, that's me, but then it's, you know, like horoscopes. Seeing other people cry can easily make you feel like you want to cry too. It depends on the context. Yeah, look, we're at question 3 and I already want to get into why I don't like this thing. You often make a backup plan for a backup plan. If it's something important, then yes. But again, this is like very general. This is a very general question. Sometimes I have a plan and I don't even think about it going wrong because it's so simple. It's just like, it's never gone wrong. Why would it go wrong this time? But then sometimes something is very new and unique and you don't really know what you're doing, so you make 5 backup plans in case one thing goes wrong. For example, with travel, for me, it's stressful. It gives me anxiety. And so I tend to have 2, like, backup trains in case I miss that one. But that doesn't count for everything. It's just in those situations, and I think it would be helpful to explore why transportation makes me stressed. And I have 5 backup plans, but not meeting up with friends. I can see what this question is trying to say. It's trying to, like, oh, are you very organized or are you not organized? But that's not the point. When you have 5 backup plans, it doesn't mean that you're organized. It just means that some things make you more scared or anxious than others. I'm not a very organized person, I would say, but I do have 5 backup plans sometimes because it's things that I know I'm bad at. and they give me anxiety, and I'll rather have 5 plans that make me feel secure than to just wing it and then feel terrible when something goes wrong. I'm going on a tangent here, but do you understand what I'm saying? Like, it's not about being organized or not, it's like what things make you anxious. I think that says more about your personality than if you make a backup plan for everything. So I'm going to go with a little bit of agree. Usually stay calm even under a lot of pressure. So again, it's about the nuance. Like, if presentations in school make you anxious and being in a car crash doesn't, then maybe that's something that should be explored in your personality or whatever, more than in general if you stay calm. I don't think there are people who stay calm in all circumstances, and there are people who panic in all circumstances, and if they are, they're extremely rare, and that's not how most of the population works. I'm going to say disagree because I panic a lot. I'm going to go with an agree. I'm actually like really looking forward to what result I'll get from this, because I think it's interesting. Even though I don't think it's the best way to categorize personalities, it's still interesting. Okay, let me go on a tangent about this one. You like to use organizing tools like schedules and lists. So for me, I am terrible at organizing stuff, but I really like to use organizing tools like schedules and lists. That is because it helps me do the thing that I'm bad at and don't do well. So I like schedules and lists because at least I have some idea of what I'm supposed to be doing, and when you check off something off of a list, you're like, yes, I did something today. So yes, I currently have like a to-do app on my phone. I used to have a bullet journal and all that, and I like that, and it was good, but it doesn't show that I'm good at organizing. I'm pretty sure that's what the question is asking. It's about organization. It's trying to determine whether you are NRS. It's trying to see if you're organized and you think about things and you like put them in lists and whatever, or if you're disorganized. But just because you like something doesn't mean that you're good at it. Yeah. I like to list and I'm terrible at organizing. You feel comfortable just walking up to someone you find interesting and striking up a conversation. Drinking game, take a shot every time, say it depends, or depending on the context or whatever. I always thought that I was more of a thinker person than a feeler person. And then I found this other kind of personality type thing. It's MBTI, but it's not exactly MBTI. It's called OPS, Objective Personality System, and it's someone took the MBTI coins, the functions and stuff like that, and expanded on them. I would definitely recommend you to check it out if that's something that sounds interesting to you. And there's a whole community around it. It's a small one, and it's just basically 2 people who made this whole thing up and are kind of like at the centerpiece of it. It's interesting. The community is definitely interesting if you want to look into it. You enjoy participating in group activities. Again, it depends. What is it? What kind of group activity? Are we playing a board game? I hate board games because it just creates this unnecessary tension in a group of people. But if we're just hanging out, watching a movie together, or we're discussing something, I love that. It depends on the group activity, and I don't think that's something that only I think. There are different kinds of group activities. You can't just say all group activities are the same. There are some things that make you more comfortable and some things that make you less comfortable. Okay, before we move on, I just wanted to point out something that I realized, that you enjoy participating in group activities. It's like, in the future questions, try to see which of like the binary coins this question is trying to target, right? So you enjoy participating in group activities, that's clearly asking you if you're extroverted or introverted. If you would reply with disagree, then it's probably going to put you more on the introverted side, and if you reply with agree, it's going to put you on the extroverted side. I think this system kind of falls apart and these questions fall apart if you think about what coin the question is about. This last question is probably also about the introverted extroverted thing. This is confusing because it doesn't make any sense. Like, being happy from helping other people doesn't make you automatically extroverted. Like, someone can be an extrovert and still be an asshole to people and not really care about other people, I feel like. Also, what is an extrovert if you think about it, really? You think the world would be a better place if people relied more on rationality and less on their feelings? I feel like sometimes rationality, subjective rationality, can be flawed. People can have a sense of this makes sense, but I don't see it the same way. And I'm not saying who is wrong and who is right. It's just sometimes two completely rational people come to two different conclusions that can be in opposition. I feel like sometimes people don't rely on their feelings and they're still wrong, in my opinion. But see, again, this is the kind of question that asks you if you're a thinker or a feeler. It's like, if you're a thinker, according to them, I suppose, you will want other people to stop using their emotions so much because thinking is like superior or whatever. I don't know how thinkers do stuff. But if you're a feeler, you're gonna be like, no, people should follow their emotions more. But that's just not, there is no one correct way to do this life. There are ways to be rational and be wrong, and there are ways to be emotional and be wrong. That's just how it is. But human beings are flawed, and that's just how it's gonna be. You usually prefer to be around others rather than on your own. Oh, it's one of those introverted, extroverted questions again. I like both, but in balance. If I'm around other people all the time, it makes me drained. But if I'm on my own for extended periods of time, quarantine, and that also makes me sad, you know, you become bored or lose interest when the discussion gets highly theoretical. No, but it depends what it's about. Again, if it's something that I don't care about and people start getting theoretical, I'm like, stop. But if it's something that I like and is highly theoretical, then yeah, I'm gonna love that. No, I have a hard time understanding other people's line of thinking, not their feelings. Feelings, I get. I usually can see where a person is coming from. Like, based, if they explain the situation, I can see, like, okay, I understand why you're feeling like that because of this situation that happened to you. I get that. But sometimes, like, I don't understand how you made this leap of judgment and came to the conclusion that you came to, so. You like to have a to-do list for each day. Again, yes, I do. But that doesn't mean that I'm an organized person. My to-do list is currently very messy and I don't do anything, basically, so. You often spend a lot of time trying to understand views that are very different from your own. Yes. Yes, I think understanding views that are different from my own is very important to keeping your own views, like, on track. But yeah, as I said previously, it's very hard for me sometimes to understand where someone is coming from rationally. Like, I don't understand the leaps of judgment that people make sometimes from A to B. They're like, they have A, they have B, and they just jump from A to B, and I'm like, I see A, but I don't see where you got B. In your social circle, you are often the one who contacts your friends and initiates activities. You know what? I was never that person, but since, like, lockdown happened, I have become that person. It's so weird. I don't understand how that happened. So I'm going to go with no, because in, like, normal times, I would just be the person who tags along and does stuff. You know at first glance how someone is feeling. I mean, I guess if they're easy to read, then yes. If they're not, then no. Like, what kind of question is that? I'm not going to claim that I know how someone is feeling. You often feel overwhelmed. Yeah. You complete things methodically without skipping over any steps. Nope. You are very intrigued by things labeled as controversial. Yes. Okay. I gotta say that. I am, yes. But I am not going to start stuff just because I'm interested in it and it's controversial. Like, you know, like, I'm aware that my first video was very controversial. Well, not very, well, controversial, at least. And yes, it was just something that I felt I wanted to address, but I didn't want to start it just because it was controversial, you know? You struggle with deadlines, yes. This is like the organization versus non-organization side. I guess that's intuition or sensing. site that's like coming up. So when they asked about the tools for organizations like to-do lists and schedules, then I'm always like, yes, I like those, I use those. But when they actually ask about the things that are organization, like meeting deadlines and whatever, then you'll see I'm not organized at all. You feel confident that things will work out for you? Yeah, I hope. Okay, see results. Okay. Interesting. Well, now we've gotten to the part of the test where they like guarantee you that you're gonna read the description of this type and you're gonna be like, oh my god, this is me! I can see myself in this, wow! It's great to finally feel understood. Well, let's see how I actually agree with this. And I'm going to try my best to not fall into these pitfalls of like, horoscopes, where everything is written in a way that you can relate to it no matter what your personality actually is, On the outside, mediators may seem quiet or even shy, I guess. But they often have vibrant, passionate inner lives. Yeah. Because they make up such a small portion of the population, people with this personality type may sometimes feel misunderstood or out of step with the world. Fortunately, their caring nature can help them create and sustain deeper relationship with their loved ones. Okay. I'm having a hard time sustaining deep relationships with people in this pandemic, but I guess that doesn't count. Mediators value authenticity, empathy, and harmony. These personalities tend to act with the best of intentions, and they are rightly proud of this trait. That said, they may feel isolated or discouraged when other people don't share their idealism. No, I don't think I'm an idealist person. I don't think I act with the best of intentions. I feel like a little bit of selfishness is needed in our lives. But, a lot of people would like to say that they value authenticity, empathy, and harmony. They tend to act with the best of intentions, and they're proud of that trait. I feel like that's something that's horoscope-like. It's trying to make people feel understood, even though this personality might not be them. Many mediators are curious about the depths of human nature, and they often make an effort to understand other people's true feelings. No, I don't agree with that. I don't feel like I'm intrigued with human nature that much. I feel like it's interesting, but it's not like something that is the most important theme in my life. This can make them capable of great empathy. It can also enable them to communicate in ways that are sensitive, original, and quite moving. I don't think so. I don't think that the way I communicate is sensitive, original, and quite moving. I try to be sensitive and empathetic, definitely. And I do kind of pride myself on that. Yeah, to me that's a value that's very important. But I'm not the best at communicating. Perhaps because of these strengths, mediators tend to crave opportunities for creative self-expression. Okay, yes, I crave opportunities for creative self-expressions, but I don't think that's because of the strengths that were mentioned before. Like, I just want to be creative. It comes as no surprise that many famous mediators are poets, writers, and actors. People with this personality type often enjoy dreaming up all sorts of stories and possibilities. Okay, yes, I do kind of agree with that. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but just a little more. By using their imagination in this way, mediators can explore their inner nature and their place in the world. That said, they can have a tendency to daydream and fantasize rather than take action. If they don't act on their dreams and ideas, mediators are likely to end up feeling frustrated or unfulfilled. Yeah, I kind of relate to that. I tend to daydream a lot. If any of you know anything about Enneagram, I'm a 5-wing-4. Apparently. So, yeah, okay. I'm not going to read the whole thing. Let me talk about the system as a whole. So, as I said at the beginning, it is based on a collection of binary coins. I don't think that that's a helpful approach to human personality, because things in the world are not binary. You're not just completely one thing without being the other, at least a little bit. Human nature is much more than just this or that. It's everyone has a little bit of everything. Even the most selfish person can think about others sometimes, and even the most selfless person can think about themselves sometimes. And that's just how we are. I feel like this personality system is making a human personality to be much simpler than it actually is. And they just aren't that many things in the world that are actually binary. That's why I feel like there are other personality types that are a little better. So, Enneagram, I think it's an interesting one. Again, it's just like a personality thing. I don't know if there's much psychological research behind it, but it's interesting. And it makes you think about personalities in a little different way. And also the objective personality system, which takes the same coins as MBTI, but kind of works with them a little bit. So I know there's also a different version of MBTI that is with the functions. So, you know, FE, FI, CSI, all of that. And I feel like OPS kind of takes that as its base and then expands on it. And, you know, as far as I know, neither of them are really based in psychology, so it's like a cool thing that kind of exists, but again, it's not something that we should say that this is the absolute truth about human personality, because I feel like there have been many, many attempts at categorizing human personality, but there's not one that's just perfect and amazing. And they all can be tools, they can all help you better yourself, understand others, but it's not something that is an answer to everything. And especially MBTI is just very, I don't know, unhelpful. It makes you think about the world in binary coins, and if this person does this, then they can't do this. Like, oh yes, if a thinker is a thinker, then they can't have emotions or something. No, that's not how things work, and I think it's a little harmful to think about things that way, so maybe we shouldn't. I encourage you to go out in the world and see different kinds of views on personality and find the one that fits you best. So I like OPS, but I also can see its flaws, and Enneagram is also, it's really interesting, but also, I don't feel like it applies to absolutely everything. Personality is so complex, and there just simply isn't one answer to it all. If this seems like something that you want to try out for yourself, the link for the test will be in the description. My result was INFP. I mean, I guess it didn't get me completely wrong. There are some things that I relate to in the INFP MBTI type. I'm not trying to trash the system here. I'm just saying that it has its limits and its flaws, and we need to be aware of them. But as I said at the beginning of the video, if you just want to, have MBTI for fun, if you want to do the test with other people and stuff like that, that's fine. Do whatever you want. So I hope that this video maybe gave you something new to think about, and I hope you'll have a nice day.